How to set up server-side rendering with React. I have another video that is showing how to do it manually. In this video I'm going to show you how to do it using Razzle. I'm going to create a new React server-side rendered application using npx create Razzle app Razzle example. Now I go to Razzle example and open the code. The folder structure that Razzle generates is kind of similar to the one that Create React Apps creates for you. It has a public folder with the static assets that needs to be served separately. It has an SRC folder that has everything that will be included into the bundle. But in the SRC folder, it now also have the server.js, where it has an express server setup that will render your application server-side. What this server does, it handles all the GET requests and then uses the React method render_to_string, as you can see it's rendered from React DOM, to render your application with the static router. So on backend the routing will also work, but as there is no history API available on the backend side, we have to use the context to track what page we are on, and also we have to use the static router instead of regular React router. If while your application was being rendered on server side, you end up rendering a redirect, you will have this URL in your context object. And if it is there, then we redirect the user to this URL from the context. Otherwise, we render the layout with your application markup as well. Now let's build something. Open src app.js file. And as you can see here, we have one route that is being handled. Right now it's only the root route. Let's add another one that will render our counter component, and let's call it a counter route. Let's define a new component, new file, counter.js. Inside of it, import React from React, export const counter equals a functional component that will render a fragment with a paragraph that will render a count value, and two buttons. One button to increment and another one to decrement. Let's define the state. Count set count equals use state with default value of 0. Also let's define the callbacks. Const increment, calls set count plus 1, and decrement calls set count -1. Let's assign them as onClick handlers. OnClick equals increment, onClick equals decrement. Format the document. Also let's add the horizontal line and the link from React Router DOM to route. And this link will have the text home. Now let's go to the home component and add another paragraph with another link to the counter, and it will say counter. Now let's go back to the app.js, and as we render the counter component here, we need to import it. Import counter from counter. Now let's open our application in the browser. Here is the home page that was generated by the Razzle automatically, and here is the counter link that we've added a minute ago. Let's click it. You see the counter value. We can increment and decrement it. And the coolest part is if we press view page source, you will see that the counter is actually rendered server side. And then when the client is loaded, it picks up the layout and starts modifying it instead of rendering from scratch. Now let's go back home, and I want to show you another cool feature of Razzle now. Razzle supports hot module replacement, which is kind of cumbersome to set up manually. By the way, if you want me to show you how to set up hot module replacement, let me know in the comments. So what does this all hot module replacement means? I'm gonna change the text, welcome to Razzle, and just add HMR test. And then I'm gonna save the page. And if you look closely at this browser window, the page is not gonna reload, and instead we will only update the module that we have changed. So I'm saving the page, Command S, the page wasn't reloaded, and the text is updated. Let's undo the changes, save it again. Whoa, not the browser page. Save it again, and the text is updated again without page reloading. So hot module replacement allows you to replace specific modules instead of reloading the whole bundle. Now, if you work with React applications, you probably also need to know how to test them. This is why I've prepared a testing checklist that is available by the link down below. I also have a Discord server that is available by the link in the description. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what topics would you like to be covered in the next one, and see you next time.